Hello and welcome back to the Joyful Soul Creates. Charlotte here, and I'm part of a hop today called A Colourful Hop with Sassy and Crafty sponsoring us. Sassy and Crafty kindly gave each of the participants of the hop a stamp set in Digi form to work with, so I chose the Have a Blast stamp set. This is actually available as a physical stamp set, but as I said, I was sent a digital form of it, and I'm going to be paper piecing all the images, and I'm going to show you how you can paper piece your Digi stamps if you want to do that yourself. So to start with, I have the Digi stamp images, and the file comes all as one image with all the pieces in it, so I did crop it down to get just the sections of it I wanted so I could work with them individually. And I'm going to really speed through this because we want to keep the video nice and short as much as possible, because this is a hop and you do want to have time to spend hopping along with the other videos as well. As I said, I'm going to be paper piecing these images and I want different parts on different papers. So I'm cutting down each of the images further, cropping them further so that I can specifically print the bits I want into different pieces of paper. I initially started with a Word document in which the paper size was set to card size so I could get a good idea of the scale, and then I changed to the size of the paper I want to be printing on, because then I can be sure that my pieces are going to print properly. So first I printed the images onto some white card, and then I'm going to be using snippets for all my other pieces. So I'm going through and measuring each of the card pieces or paper pieces, entering that into the printer size and then printing the appropriate image onto it. So I used a pink strip for the pig face. I'm then going to print the bear face onto actually 2 different shades of brown card. And again, with every piece of card or paper that I'm using, I measure it first and then enter that as my paper size into the Word document. I print the spacesuit and the blast from the rocket onto some grey, and then the rocket itself onto a piece of silver. Then I trimmed down a snippet of blue card and I will print the helmet portion of the little spacesuit onto that. And then I have some gold pearlized card for some of the extra parts of the rocket. And finally, the inner part of the window is going to be on a dark blue card. Once I had all the pieces printed out, I needed to fussy cut them. If you have a scan and cut, that would obviously be much quicker. I believe there are also cut files available on the Sassy and Crafty website which you could use, but I just fussy cut all of them and it did take me quite a while to do that. But they were fairly easy to cut around and I don't mind fussy cutting that much, so it was not a problem for me to do that. It is easiest to trim the excess paper off first so you're not working with too huge a piece of paper, and when you fussy cut you want to turn the paper, not the scissors, as much as possible. That will make a smoother cut. So I'm just going to work through cutting all of those down, and whilst I am doing that I will tell you a little bit more about the hop. So as I said, this is sponsored by Sassy and Crafty. It is a giveaway hop which is open internationally for 1 week. So you have 1 week from today to leave all your comments along the hop for a chance to win the prize. All the information on how to enter the giveaway, as well as the next creator on the hop, will be listed in my description box. There will also be a Rafflecopter link down in the description box, and that is how you will enter the giveaway. One winner will win a Sassy and Crafty stamp set from the new release. And again, as I said, that is open internationally, so wherever you are in the world, you are welcome to enter. The theme of this hop, as I mentioned earlier, is colourful, and it's all about colouring images in different ways. And as I said, my way of colouring is paper piecing on this occasion. I do enjoy colouring with alcohol markers and even coloured pencils and watercolours from time to time, but I thought I would do something a bit different here, and I thought this would be a really good way to use up some snippets of paper as well. When paper piecing, you can, of course, use pattern papers. I here have chosen all solid coloured papers rather than pattern papers, just because I didn't really have any pattern papers that really worked for what I wanted to do. So I just used these browns and greys and blues, and the metal parts for the rocket are pearlized papers as well. I thought those would work nicely, but as I said, you could use pattern papers instead if you prefer. You could also use digital papers and fill the images in digitally in Photoshop or something similar to give them colour like that if you want. It may well be that someone along the hop shows how to do that. I've no idea. I don't know what anyone else is making when I'm recording this, so I will be watching through when you all are watching as well to see the inspiration from everyone else, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. When I'm paper piecing, I do also like to add a little extra detail with my markers, so I here mostly used a grey marker for adding extra detail, just a very little shading to add dimension and interest to the design. I think this just helps it pop and just look more interesting, really. When I had everything fussy cut out, I did do that shading as I went along with adhering all of the pieces down. I'm using Tombow Monomolte liquid glue for adhering all my pieces. This is my go-to glue, and I do use my reverse tweezers to help me with getting everything into place as well. As you can see, I am once again using my Make It by Marco glue holder. If you're wondering what that is, I did do a video on that recently, so I will link that in the top right hand corner if you're curious. And I'm just really quickly going through and gluing all the pieces into position. I did realise I'd forgotten to add colour to the eyes of my little critters, so I did that quickly as well, just very simply with one colour per creature. And I also added some extra detail onto the spacesuit just to fill in the lines that are there. I didn't think it was worth printing that on another piece of paper because those bits would be so fiddly to cut out, so I figured it would be easy enough just to colour them in with a marker. When I'd finished assembling my paper piece elements, I set them aside and started working on my background, for which I decided I would make a galaxy. And I started by using direct paper with a variety of Catherine Pooler inks to create the colourful portion of my sky. So I have Tiara, Tiki Torch, Tutti Frutti, Party Dress, Flirty Fuchsia, Something Borrowed, Aquatini and Lime Ricky. I then used Twilight and went over all of that to mute it a little bit, and then ink blended all around with Midnight to really darken up that sky. I did then very quickly dry it off with my Wow Dual Speed heat tool before flicking on some water for distant stars, and as with any galaxy background, this really comes to life when you add the stars. So I bought in my Gansai Tambi watercolour paints, and I'm adding stars in both the silver and the gold colours because I felt that would go well with my rocket. I went back to the stamp set and printed out two of the sentiments. I chose Happy Birthday and Have a Blast, and I'm just going to trim those down with my craft knife and my Misty cutter lane, which I think I still managed to get everything wonky, even though I was trying to really pay attention to the lines, but I guess I was probably trying to hurry too much. Once I had those cut down, I worked out where I wanted to position them, and I decided on opposite corners of my background panel. And with the layout decided, I just needed to adhere everything into place. Once again, I'm going to use my Tombow Monomolte liquid glue for this and my reverse tweezers to help with the positioning. I did decide to use a black card base here. I don't usually add panels to the inside of my black card bases. I will, if I send this out, I will write in it with a white gel pen. And if I end up selling this on my Etsy store, which I may well do, then I do give the option that the purchaser can request to have a panel put inside if they prefer. So I usually leave that until that decision has been made rather than doing it in the first place, if that makes sense. As a final touch, I did put some gold gel pen on the screws on the rocket ship. I'd also put it on the stars in the blast from the ship. And that completes my card. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe learnt something new from the technique. Don't forget all the information for the giveaway and the next stop on the hop are in the description box below, along with all of the product links. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing with your friends and shopping with the affiliate links if you do. Your support really means a lot to me. There are a couple of other videos showing on screen now if you'd like to see more from me straight away. Otherwise, I'll thank you very much for watching and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye!